Hello everyone and welcome to Meditation Monday. In the last meditation video, we talked about the traumas or the patterns or the baggage that we're carrying and releasing that so that we can move forward in our lives and have wonderful, wonderful things happening to us. We're going to go a little bit deeper into that. I've been studying a lot of Gabor Mate's research and material, and if you haven't had a chance to check him out, you should. He's got some really great information and I really value it, and it really makes a lot of sense to me in what I see when I work with people around trauma. When I see people who have trauma, the energy looks the same for everybody, in the sense that it doesn't matter what the trauma is, you can tell that it's the same sort of energy that just sticks. It's like it hooks onto the person and they have a hard time letting it go. It can be, something as dramatic and traumatic as abuse. It can be something that maybe to the adult mind does not seem as traumatic, where someone yells at them or someone calls them a name, or there's just this feeling of not being liked or something like that. And yet, it's not the physical or mental or emotional or sexual trauma, but it does have an effect on that person. And the reason it does is it's not necessarily the event. Of course, that can affect us as well. But even if someone has a really big event happen, but they have support around them to help them through it, whether it's a parent, whether it's a therapist, a counselor, whether it's a teacher or an adult that just takes them under their wing and helps them through that trauma, then it won't hold on because they have that support. They're able to talk about it, and they're able to, in the moment and after the moment, they're able to process it and release it a lot easier. However, for many people, when trauma happens, there's no one there to talk to. We're either told to be quiet, it's no big deal, or we just feel that we can't say anything at all. And so we hold it inside, and we hold it for a long, long time until adulthood, when we realize that trauma is still there. So sometimes what I see when I'm looking at that trauma is this space between the event. So it's almost as if there's this energetic space there that is bigger. So it makes the trauma huge, okay? So even if it's a small trauma, so to speak, someone yelled at me, for example, that trauma looks big because as I say, have no one to talk to about it or no one who is supporting me through it, it makes that energy just get bigger and expand, and then it gets stuck and it feels huge. Now, the logical mind can look at the event and say, oh, that was no big deal. Really, my mom was just mad that day. She was having a rough day and she yelled at me. The logical mind can think that, but it takes a bit more work to just unhook the energy of that time, that experience, or the people involved. So our meditation today is going to be looking at unhooking some more of those traumas. So you may have had things come up last week or the last session, And it might have been removed, or you may have noticed that there's more things that have come up. And even if you can't think of a trauma right now, that's okay. You know, you may have already worked through all those traumas. But most of us have things that are hooked on. So we're just going to talk about unhooking it. We're going to, in our meditation, unhook the emotion, unhook the people involved, unhook the situation so that we can fully let it go from our minds, from our hearts, and from our whole body. It's so important that we release it from our whole bodies, because if we don't, it will get stuck. Our cells remember everything that has happened to us. And this is why sometimes we feel like, I've been working on that so many times. I've worked on it, I've worked on it, I've worked on it. Why can't I release it? Because it's stuck in your cells. The energy of that moment is stuck in your cells. And what you learned in that moment is stuck in your cells. And what maybe you learned was that I couldn't trust people. I am not good enough. I'm not worthy. Things like that get stuck there, and the more and more things that happen to re-emphasize it, the deeper and deeper it gets stuck in our cells. So we're going to work at it from a very deep level, in the cellular level, the neurological level as well. Because what happens is when these traumas or these events happen to us, it creates a neurological pathway within our body that makes us behave a certain way. We create a pattern where it becomes the norm. Often this is related to the fight, flight response, fight, flight, freeze response. And so it may be that when something happens to us, we're having an experience and it triggers something, and we can feel that trigger within our bodies. It's often felt in your gut or in your heart. And your response is either fight, flight, or freeze. And that's because it is programmed within you. And so you need to deprogram that out of your body so that your neurological pathway changes. And it becomes one where you can stand in your power and you are not affected in the same way. Okay, so you may have a trauma already in your mind, you may not. And even if you don't, or you don't through this process, that's okay. Because we all have things that we are ready to release, whatever it may be. And what it's going to do is just open up a neurological pathway so that it can be something that is of more benefit to you than whatever your pattern is right now. So when you are ready, close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and out. And in and out. Bring your focus, your awareness inward into your body. You may already be feeling some tension or some movement of energy in your belly or in your heart. This is the energies that are ready to be released, ready to be transformed. When you are transforming this energy, you are making it neutral so that it no longer affects you. It is being released and transformed from every cell of your body. As your cells are letting go of the tightness that they have been carrying, the uncertainty that they've been carrying, and it's helping to change that neurological pathway that has created some pattern in your life that you may not want to keep. So as you breathe into that area of your body where you are feeling that energy moving, know that you are safe and that your body is wanting and is ready to change this. You may already know what that trauma is about. You may not. Doesn't matter. And whether it's big or small, it doesn't matter. You don't have to relive it. You don't need to go through the pain of it again and go over the story. Simply bring attention to it, awareness to it, and tell it that it's time for it to go. Now, as you say that to it, imagine that there are hooks attached to the energy of that moment. And bringing in, breathing in new energy is going to help unhook that old energy from the place that you are feeling it. Maybe in your heart or your belly. Allow that to be unhooked easily and gently. And any anger or resentment or shame or guilt or sadness or rage that is connected to that moment, again, you are going to unhook that easily and gently. And you're just going to simply let it release from your cells. Now, there may be some emotion that sticks. There may be something that you were really angry about or sad about. But as you keep breathing into that, it's going to keep releasing. Now, attached to that moment, of the trauma, there may be a person or two connected to it. As you bring in forgiveness to those people, we are going to allow any soul fragments, any parts of you that are attached to them and them to you, to be released and washed clean and returned to their rightful owners. And what this does is it releases any emotional attachment to them. And this will help for that anger or sadness or guilt or shame to be released easier. Breathe into it. Allow the energy to transform whatever that trauma, that old pattern, whatever it is. Now, as that keeps moving, I want you to breathe in pure energy. To keep this transformation happening. Now, as you continue to breathe in and out, you may start to feel your body tingling. This is your cells releasing and transforming the old trauma, the old memory, cellular memory of that event and the emotions attached to it. You do not need to relive it. You do not need to go over it again in your mind, because your cells are simply allowing it to be released. And as that continues to transform, what you are doing is letting go of the neurological pathway of the old pattern that you no longer want. And that is creating space for a new neurological pathway to be opened up. Now, you may not know what that new pattern, new pathway looks like, but as it releases, it will start to come to you what you want to be able to do differently, what you want it to look like. And then you can create that, because now there is space for it. But for now, all you have to do is allow that space to be opened up, so that when you are ready, it will be created. The new pattern will be created. So keep breathing in and out, allowing this to keep processing. And this will keep processing throughout the day, easily and gently for you. Allowing the emotions to be released, the old memory to be released and transformed into a neutral energy that has space with love and compassion for you. Take your time, allow this to process, and when you are ready, open your eyes and have a glorious day.